Welcome back to Digi Bros, everybody.
What's up?
About
Playing
to-
Fire Emblem. I'm having a good ass time.
About to finish up this stage.
I don't know if Conrad can comprehend what I'm doing at all.
It's going better than Uncharted.
Certainly.
Like, there's, you do have that little sense of like, all right, we're getting towards the end of the board, that satisfaction of killing a few enemies,
Yeah.
seeing the number of enemies decrease.
I hope me reacting to what happens, gives you a sense that something is happening.
Right.
I feel like people are always just like, wait, what is he
He's
reacting
clearly enjoying himself, so I can appreciate that this is supposed to be a fun time.
I'm clicking on things fast.
Yeah.
Not spending too much time reading stats and looking at menus.
What is it about Uncharted that we had such a hard time
I don't
concentrating
know.
on?
I mean, we didn't put on a high difficulty. It was a little disorienting.
Yeah,
And it was super dark because I didn't realize Conrad had his TV set to weird settings.
Yeah.
So nothing looks right to us. Like, look at this game right now and look at how beautiful it is on the other screen. Like,
it looks just as good.
dude, it looks much better on... The colors look so off. It's, like, oversaturated.
I think it looks fine.
Nah.
I like how it's kind of, like, green on our screen. Cool.
Okay.
Anyway... Yeah, I think, modern games are hard for me, dude. Like, just to look at and, like, feel and play. I always have a harder time with, like, for me, looking at pixels is so much more, like, just easy and pleasant, and I can deal with it in long stretches, Like, I got used to it with Bloodborne, but it took, like, I watched you play it, and then I played it, and I, kind of felt my way through it, and I was like, okay, I can deal with this, Like, at a glance, I just have a much harder time, like, processing all the information of, like, newer games. Maybe it's a thing, I don't know if this is gonna, I guess there's some gamers who sort of evolve with the times, but I think if there's a period of time where you weren't playing games, it's harder to catch up.
Probably.
And I've kind of... Because, like, I don't remember if we've talked about this before on the show, but I was telling my dad about it. How Danny Sexbang of the Game Grumps grew up playing NES and Super NES a lot, right? And he has, like... He can comprehend NES games that are, like, super obtuse and weird because he, played them so much as a kid that he memorized them.
Yeah.
So, like... He can play all these ancient games that, like, no one gets anymore and be, like, amazing at them. Even though it's been, 20 years since he played them, or even 30 in some cases. Like, he gets them. But then, if you try to get him to play a modern game, like anything in 3D, it's like he can't grasp it. Like, it's so hard for him to grasp that third dimension and everything. And, like, because he stopped at the N64. He never played N64. He got into high school and started doing lots of weed, and then...
doing lots of weed.
Yes.
I love how we always end up saying doing lots of weed.
Onto the do weed phrase.
It's a very great phrase.
No one gives you shit for that except stoners. If anyone's wondering why we keep laughing about it, tell a stoner that you're gonna do weed, and they'll make like an event out of it. Like you're the biggest noob on planet
Oh
Earth.
my god.
You said, dude,
you
smoke.
Said
You don't
doing
do weed. You
weed.
smoke weed. It's like do is a verb that encompasses
Shma.
everything. You fucking asshole.
Shma. Yeah.
But yeah. What was I fucking talking about? Right, he stopped playing at the N64 era, so he doesn't really get 3D games. And, like, our dad has always said that, like, he can't comprehend, like, newer games, because he played, like, NES and before that. Like, that's it, I think he's played, like, an NES game, but he played, like, Galaga and shit like that back in the arcades. But he doesn't grasp anything more than one button is, like, too much for him,
One button.
And I feel like you have to sort of reacclimate yourself to the style of new games where, like, Danny is slowly starting to understand more modern games, but it takes a little bit more doing. And it's funny because I think that because they played, what's it called? The Zelda game on the 3DS, A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
Like, they were playing that. And because Danny had played all the 2D games, they got Danny to play, right? But he, through the entire game, just could not get
I
it.
had watched some of that and it bothered me. And I was like, he's just not even
It
paying
really
attention.
bothered me that Aaron didn't just decide that he was going to... Because Aaron would have to like constantly have to do stuff for him or correct him and stuff like that. And it really bothered me that he didn't just take over. Because Dan would have so much trouble processing the game that he couldn't talk. He couldn't like hold a conversation. And he was always like every time he had to learn something, he's like, oh, okay, now I get it. You know, like he just couldn't wrap his head around this game because it's, you know, it's got the 3D stuff, like the three-dimensional like way that you're supposed to think about it. And it's just too advanced for him. And it's interesting because I feel like I sort of stopped playing in the PS2 era for the most part. Like, I never fully caught up to the last gen, and, like, now I feel like I'm playing catch-up with that generation. And it wasn't nearly as bad as it is for, like, someone like Dan. Like, there were plenty of games in that gen that I did pick up and play. Like, I played all of, you know, The Last of Us and BioShock Infinite and, like, games here and there. But I still feel like I'm more in tune with stuff that came before that. And it's like a little bit easier for me to grasp and process what's happening. Just visually. Like, there's just
just so much going on in new games that it hurts my eyes sometimes. Like, especially in Bloodborne where the camera turns so fast and it's just like so much detail and it's just so too much to look at sometimes.
Because that was what I was saying was my biggest problem with Bloodborne was that there's so much shit scattered around that I could never tell where I was or what was going on. And then like it wasn't until when I played it and like really took my time to memorize each environment that I was like, okay, I get it now. Like I get this world and I do think it's really cool. And then it was funny because going back to Dark Souls, immediately my biggest problem was there's no detail anymore. Like, everything is so bare bones in comparison. I was like, oh, where's all that intimate detail that really drew me into the world, you know? Like, Bloodborne felt so real and alive, like a place where people lived, you know? And, like, in Dark Souls, a lot of it is just, like, narrow walkways that you're having a hard time, and you're like, who would ever walk on this, you know? Like, all of Blighttown, what the hell is that? Who would ever live on, like, very thin planks, like built all the way up a hillside with ladders people, and man. Shit. Why would they build it like that?
Because they're shantytown people.
It's ridiculous.
All right.
Bloodborne feels very real and cohesive, and it like the impression I got when I was playing through Dark Souls, I sort of realized that the other Souls games were built a lot more to be like video game levels where like they try to fuck you a lot is what I'm getting at. Like Dark Souls has a lot of places where everything is just built to be really narrow ledges that are really hard to walk on. And it's like that's cool and all from a, you know, game design standpoint, but it kind of strains the believability of the world when everything is just a bunch of fucking, like, everything's clearly designed to be hard to walk on. Where Bloodborne never does that. All of it feels like a cohesive, lived-in world.
Yeah, when you mentioned it, it's a lot easier to walk around in that game.
Yeah, you can just run around anywhere. It's never a problem. Like, you know, what Devu was saying that, like, when he was watching us play Bloodborne, he was like, he said that he thinks he'd like it a lot more because he said, like, I don't consider Dark Souls as fun to just play because it's so stressful to cross the whole world back and forth, you know? And, like, I was thinking about it, and when he said that, at first I was thinking, well, Bloodborne's a lot more tightly constructed, there's a lot more looping in on itself, there's a lot more teleporting, but what I realized was that that's not really the heart of it. The heart of it is that Bloodborne is not hard to get around. You can just run past most enemies. You can run past most cliffs. In Dark Souls, you can try, and then you'll fucking fall off a cliff and fucking die because you were trying to get through an area quick, you know. You never have that issue in Bloodborne. I never ran off a cliff, like, while not fighting something intentionally, you know. And even then, I think maybe twice I ever fell off a cliff in that game. So, like, yeah, I mean, it's maybe not quite as memorable, but it feels more real and like a place you're in, and not like a game that's constantly trying to fuck you. You know? Look how close we put this skeleton.
Glad
to this
you
cliff.
have good revelations about Bloodborne And
I'm sure I'll continue to have revelations forever because
you're more agreeing with my assessment of the game.
I don't think there's anything I've spent more time thinking about than Souls games in my life. I legitimately think
for real
I've spent the most time thinking about Souls games. Like, maybe not in comparison to all of anime, but like there's no one franchise or piece of media that I've spent as much fucking time thinking about.
Yeah.
Compared to the Souls series.
I'm being a pain in the ass right now trying to like
yeah, I'm noticing. Like you could kill this guy with anyone, I feel like. And I'm not sure why.
Well, he's kind of tough in the way that he can knock down a lot of my troops very easily, and so I'm using this guy to get his health down so that I can actually kill him in one hit with my other guys without a lot of risk.
Does he have a throwing weapon, the enemy?
Yes, he does.
Okay, that's why.
So he could very easily fuck up my guys if they miss, and so I'm being very like safe and careful and circling out my guys and making this dude try to chip down his health, but this guy has terrible fucking accuracy.
The funny thing is, we started off this episode like we ended the last episode like, yeah, we're right at the end. And then we started this episode like, we're about to finish this up. And we're near the end of this episode now.
Oh my God.
You've been doing this for almost 20 minutes. You've just been cycling troops back and forth to fight this guy.
Very clean. I'll beat him in the next turn. I'll stop fucking around. God damn it, he's just fucking pain in the ass, man. I'll just cycle all my other dudes in and try to, like, kill him before he can get another turn in.
That's dangerous tactics.
Very tactics. I mean, he has a fucking 39%, 29% of hitting, depending on what I use.
Oof.
Probably being more careful than what's necessary. Level up.
She leveled up without even killing him.
Yeah, sometimes you just get those chip level ups. Just nice for someone like the knight who is going to be defensive most of the time. I didn't really pay attention to the fact that this guy has very small hit percentage with these guys.
Yeah, that probably would have helped a lot in making your decision.
You can get the fuck out.
Who are you trying to level? Thief boy?
I was hoping him, but he only does 2 damage, so it's real hard.
Yeah.
I guess I could have just planted him there, and this dude will never fucking hit him, so...
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
How many hits would it take for him to kill your guy?
2. And he will get 2 chances to attack on his turn, so... Let's hope we get him. Who's he gonna fight?
Yeah.
He's gotta attack someone.
I'm trying my hardest
All
to
right.
not again, let's not keep bringing up Bloodborne in the middle of fucking
Got
Fire
this.
Emblem.
He's got 1 HP. This is perfect. Yes.
Alright, and you got the double.
Fuck yeah.
Oh.
Boom. God, I love the thief's attack. He like jumps and stabs and spins around. It's real cool. He's got his little cape that he's like hiding under the little...
mighty Buzba!
Hiding under
Very
the little collar.
fucking berserk villain
Oh, yeah.
dialogue.
Did you see the fucking... The picture of the sword dudes on the enemy team looks just like Guts. They have their
I will now
sword.
enact every villain
We did it!
in Berserk in the first, 18 volumes. I am the best guy ever! No one could possibly beat me! I can't believe you beat me! I'm the best guy ever! How could I lose?
He says as he's, in half flying through the air.
Yeah.
He's been chopped in 2. Alright, we're getting through these super early basic stages.
Next time on Digi Bros, I'm hungry. Let's go get food.
Oh.
I suddenly want fast food because we talked about McDonald's.
Oh god, it's like 2 a.m.
I supposedly quit fast food.